If you were to do a scan of the internet and have a look around, there's loads of large chains of bike shops and car parts, not naming any, but they'll really aim to sell you an electric bike for the least money you can get. So I think I was having a look the other day, and they've got a bike on there for sub £500 for an electric bike. And basically they class it as an electric bike because it has a motor and it has a battery and it's got 2 wheels and some pedals and handlebars and a saddle. That makes it an electric bike. Reality is, when you look at that bike, there's not much to it. So I think you'll find, I'm scanning back through the picture in my mind, it's got a front hub drive on it, which is probably one of the worst places to put a motor. It's then got a battery which is about 200 watt hours, tiny battery, so it's not going to get you very far at all. And then it's a single gear as well. So it means when you come to climb the hills, the bike is going to slow down, the motor's going to put out less power, and you've only got one gear. So whilst it is essentially an electric bike, it's not much good for anything at all. So I wouldn't advise going down that route. When you start looking at bikes that are slightly more expensive, then you're going to be moving from a front hub motor to a rear hub motor. It becomes a little bit more complicated because then you've got to fit the gears and the cassette and everything into it as well. So that's why it tends to get a little bit more expensive. Then the bike starts stepping up in quality. Not great still, because you still got the issue with, as the bike slows, the power becomes less. So as you start climbing hills, you're really not getting what you want from it. But then as you start to move into things with mid-drive motors, that's where the price really jumps up, because the motor tends to fit into a frame that has to have been specially built, so you can't retrofit it to any cheap-ass bike you can get hold of. So it starts putting the price up really then from sort of £1,500 upwards. Reality, when you get to look at something like a Bosch motor with a 500 watt hour battery in it, the prices are then starting to hit £2,500. So that's where the starting point really comes in for a proper electric bike, and I'd say that's the difference between an e-bike and a real electric bike.